Okay.
You know what? I'm shutting this off.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Our speaker for this period is Ed Ricci from Christiansburg, Virginia. He's the owner and operator of HVAC company. The reason we've invited him to Land Care today is that he's certified in load calculation and system design for HVAC. He's Earthcraft certified for green buildings, so he calculates your energy requirements. And he's a dealer for GeoPro Master products, which are geothermal products that will help reduce your energy bills for your homes. Ed,
Thank you.
welcome.
Thank
you
you.
for being here.
Thanks for coming. I don't know how they're going to rate me on time, but we're going to go for it. We specialize in geothermal, ground source heat pumps. Been in business since '96. We offer service and installations on just about anything that heat and cools your house. The geothermal is a proven technology. Be assured that these systems have been successfully installed, many different types of applications, offices, schools, churches, residential homes. The geothermal systems have been in use for decades, and we use computer programs to size and design the systems. Your energy bill for a typical homeowner, you're going to use up to 60% of your total energy is for heating, cooling, and hot water. The rest is for your lighting, appliances, and other usage. So the biggest opportunity to save on money on your energy bill is to increase the energy efficiency of your heating and cooling system and your hot water system. The geothermal systems have a series of loops. We can go horizontal, we can go vertical, we could put it in a pond or a lake, and I'll talk about different depths and qualifications for them as we go along. And we can also do open loop using well water or spring water, depending on the quality of the water. We have to get a test for that water. We're looking for certain things like iron particles and hardness, which will clog up the coils. So to do open loop, you've got to have very good water. How do you know that the loop is the right size? We use a sophisticated computer software. We perform what's a manual J-load study. When I come to your home, I'm going to measure your house, your windows, your doors, get your insulation levels, take those numbers. They tell me the heating and cooling loads that we need for your house. Once I get them, I put them into the GeoLink program. That tells me what size loop I need, either how far we need to go with the horizontal or how deep we need to go vertical to get the temperatures that we need for the system. It is a science, it's not a guessing game. There are lots of rules of thumbs for geothermal, but I don't do rules of thumb. If you use well water, how much will you need? If you're going to use an open loop and use your well water, you're going to need a minimum of 1.5 to 2 gallons of water a minute per ton when the unit is running. After the water runs through the unit, it's discharged. We need either a ditch or you can put a pond on your property, or we're going to run it down a hill into the woods, but not on your neighbors, because you're going to run millions of gallons of water through the system over the course of a year. And the only change in the water is a few degrees in temperatures. Once this runs through the system and creates your heating or cooling, I mean, you could drink the water. There's no chemicals, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. So you still always have good water. We could send it back into a well if need be. The loop system, the geothermal earth loops, they're a series of high-density polyethylene pipe. I'm going to step out of the way for, yes. Would you pass that around? I've got a setup there showing you the 3/4-inch pipes that go into the loops, heat fused into the 1.25 inch. There are no screws, no clamps. Everything we do is heat fused together. So the chance of a leak is very minimal. And then what happens, the pipes are buried in the ground. They're connected to the geothermal unit. That's your heat exchanger. Your heat exchanger are those pipes running through the earth and then brought it back into the house. And how do I know which loop system is best? We've got 13 years experience putting these systems in. I had no idea what a geothermal system was 13 years ago, but when Water Furnace said we use the earth, my light bulb went on and said, you know, I think we want to learn how to do these. Now I have probably over 90 systems in this area and in the New River area. And it's all in, again, we're talking about the design, we're talking about what's the effective loop, and it's all based on the installation cost. First thing we do when we come out is look at your land. Do we have a lot of rock? Do we need to go vertical? Do you have a lot of land? Can we go horizontal? And the horizontal loops can go a whole lot of ways. They're not like a straight line. We can go around the house. We can go over things, under things. There's always a way to make it work. The closed loops are made of this high-density polyethylene pipe. It is made for 200 years. It carries a 55-year no-leak warranty. What goes out in the loop is continuous. When we go out into a horizontal loop or down into a vertical, there's no joints. It's one continuous loop. The joints are back at what we call the header pit, which is somewhere outside the house. And that is where we take the pipes that are in the loop, heat fuse them together into something like this, and then we take 1 1/4 inch supply and 1 1/4 inch return into the house to the geothermal unit. Your hot water. The geothermal unit can make hot water. And what we do is, the units come with what's called a desuperheater. So, it works this way. In the air conditioning season, what we're doing is we're taking all the heat and humidity out of your house. The whole time that the geothermal unit is running in air conditioning, your elements on your electric water heater do not come on. You run that for 3 months, those elements will be off for 3 months. The heat that we're taking out, send them back to the earth. Part of it goes to the desuperheater. We circulate that water. We create a loop to your electric water heater, and we circulate it. You get a 130-degree hot water heater at the cost of the geothermal, which is nothing compared to your elements being on. In the winter, we're taking so much heat out of the earth, and it depends on how cold it gets. But in most winter, it's getting really cold. We're bringing in all this heat from the earth. Again, it shoots some to the desuperheater. Your elements go off in your water heater, and the geothermal unit is heating your hot water. And I will tell you, when we do estimates and we come back to people with proposals, they get all that data. You are given your kilowatt hour usage for everything. So you really look at it, you're given return on investment as compared to other sources of heating and cooling. Can the geothermal system be used in other applications? Yes, very popular for radiant floor heat. We did our first swimming pool a couple of years ago, an indoor pool, spas, fan coil systems, snow melt on driveways. In addition to residential applications, of course, the geothermals are going in, and especially in schools. Roanoke County, I understand down here, I know there's a school in Roanoke County, they saved about $100,000 on their bill. They went all geothermal about a year ago, so it's very popular. We put 3 systems in a church 2 years ago, and then, of course, manufacturing plants, apartments, and any other commercial application. It's growing and growing in popularity. Yes, we can come into your existing home, and we can retrofit your system with the geothermal. We can reuse it. We will reuse your ductwork, unless it's really terrible. We're going to reuse the ductwork you have with your existing system. So you save a lot of money there. We take the existing system out, put in the geothermal system. What we do then is when we come back with statistics to show you, here's what the geothermal is costing, here's what a conventional heat pump or high efficiency gas, whatever you'd like me to use, and give you comparisons. So when you take your 30% tax credit, which is good till 2016, your return on your investment is about 3 to 8 years. And I say this to folks, because folks will say, well, give me an idea. I got a 1,500 square foot house. Give me a ballpark. $18,000. some people look at you, and I say this to you. Don't let the upfront numbers scare you. If you think you can afford to do it, you need to look at all the numbers before you make that decision, because there's a lot of benefits. In the new homes, of course, you get a positive cash flow the first day you walk in, because the savings that the geothermal are giving you, equivalent to the addition to your mortgage for putting that in, are basically a wash. And so when you do that, the energy savings will probably be a little greater to the added cost, and you start saving immediately. Unfortunately, right now, there's not a whole lot of new construction, but there are some, and we're doing some. The benefits, you got heating, air conditioning, and hot water savings up to 70% on your utility bill. I will tell you this, in most houses that we've done, decent windows, decent insulation, your heating, your air conditioning, and your hot water is going to run you somewhere between $800 and $1,200 for the year. That's a fact. That's a fact. You got no carbon footprint, a low carbon footprint. Quiet operation, when this unit's in your house, you have to stand next to it to hear it, and even then it is quiet. They are very, very well insulated because it's in your house and because it's the whole heat pump. So it's a very, very quiet system. There are no short or hot blasts of air. It's much more even heat. We get about 105, 110 degree heat out of the earth, and that's because we're using the earth. So it's much warmer than heat pumps and that air-to-air. There's no flames, there's no fumes or combustion. The life expectancy is 24.4 years on the geothermal. There's nothing outside, no outdoor units. It's very clean, and you got a 30% tax credit. And how much will I save with my geothermal? There are many variables that must be considered when calculating the size of the home, your insulation, your climate, your fuel rates, how many hot water users we have. All that goes into the program to determine what we're going to do for you and your house. So once we do that, they're the numbers that we give back to you. And our estimates are free. The federal tax incentives. Okay, we've got the 30% credit. It is good until December 31st, 2016. The geo equipment must be Energy Star rated. If we do this for you, you will get a document signed by the president of Water Furnace stating your system is Energy Star, meets the tax credits. The closed loop, and this is what's spelled out on that document, needs to be 16.1 with the energy efficiency rating, 3.5 on the coefficient of performance. The open loop is required a little higher, 18.2 and 3.8. The desuperheater is no longer necessary, and we're saying that because when they first came out with the credits, they said, well, you have to buy the desuperheater. Why? You're putting in this wonderful system, and so after that initial 6-8 months, they said, nah, you really don't need it, because there's some people that have on-demand water heaters. You can't hook up a geothermal to on-demand. There's no storage. So as long as you put the geothermal in now, you will get the tax credit. The water-to-water geothermal equipment now qualifies. It didn't initially, and that's where maybe we're just going to do a water-to-water system to give you radiant floor. You don't want air conditioning. Maybe we're going to do your swimming pool. Those units all qualify now. How can I finance my system? The best way to finance is go see a bank today. We have financing, and I'd give it to you, but it won't be the same as if you could go through your bank. Of course, the rates are so great. But Water Furnace does offer financing programs. How long does my unit last? The standard warranty on all Water Furnace, Envision, the Synergy 3D, and the Legend, you get 10 years parts and 10 years labor. You get, on the flow centers, which is the hardest working part of the system, you get, and the thermostats, you get 5 years on parts and 5 years on labor. The pipe's 55 years against leaks. So we still have the best warranties in the business right now. Then there's other, of course, warranty options available to you. The reliability of the pipe. The pipe it's specially formulated for geothermals. It's used by everybody that's putting a geothermal in now, and all companies. With the explosion in the market All the heating and air companies are now making geothermals. I want to tell you this about water furnace. They don't make anything but geothermal heat pumps. They're in Fort Wayne, Indiana. When you sign a contract with me and I call it in, they start making your system. It is run tested out there and shipped to me. When it gets to my shop, I know that that water furnace system is working. It's in fine working order, which is another reason I'm still with water furnace after 13 years. But the pipe will not rust. It won't rot. There's no corrosion. I don't care if it's in the ground for 100 years. Years ago, they used copper, and that was the issue. Copper would rot and rust over time. They ended up coming up with the high-density polyethylene, which is what we use now. These are websites of interest. The DSIRE.com is a federal website. You don't need it anymore for the 30%, but they list any tax credit for anything you want to look up. Windows, insulation, they list the whole thing and tell you where to go to get those tax credits, what is good, what isn't good anymore. Right here, the state of Virginia, this is very important because DMME, the Department of Mining, Minerals, and Engineering, started several years ago. And what they're doing is if you put a geothermal in, they're sending you a check for $2,000. That's their thank you for the energy you're saving the state. They just got $13 million. You register. You have 60 days to get the system in. They will give you an extension. If you don't, if they run out of money, you stay in line. They may come back with money 8 months from now. You're back in line to get $2,000 for the geothermal. Very important website.
Do you want to hold questions to the end?
I'm sorry?
Do you want to hold questions to the end, or can I ask a question?
Let me run through this, okay? Thanks. And then, of course, if you go to my website, okay, you can click on my savings calculator, put in your address, your zip code, your house is going to come up. You could tell them what you're heating and cooling with right now. They'll give you a projection on what your energy savings will be. I can give you that. Ballpark, and give you a ballpark size on what size system you would need. We have the highest certified efficiencies. There are lots of other geothermals out there today. As I said, we still carry the highest energy efficiency rating on cooling and the highest coefficient of performance in heating. Quietest operation, very low maintenance. Your maintenance on this unit is please check your filter once a month. And I usually give lifetime filters with our installation, so you never need one. You take it out, is it dirty? You backwash it, shake the water out, put it back in, and it's good for life. Check it once a month, because there is really no other maintenance. We come back once a year to check your pressures and stuff, but everything's in the house, so there's no wear and tear, and as long as you keep that filter clean, the system is just, there's just basically no maintenance. I'm not going to tell you I never had an issue now. I had a bad TXV valve. I've had a leak in a coil. But of the 90 systems that I've put in, I've had maybe 4 breakdowns. That's the quietest operation. Again, there's no outdoor unit. There's no gas, no ignition. You've got a variable speed blower that comes with this. What we design the systems to run on low speed. I want them to run on low speed as much as possible at your biggest energy savings. And it's about comfort. I've had people say, Ed, you know, you put it in, and when I'm standing near the vent, like, I'm not feeling any air. Well, Joe, are you comfortable? Oh, yeah, it's wonderful. Thank you. That's what we're looking for. Not how hard the air's blowing, how comfortable you are in your house. And these units will make you comfortable. So that's really important. You've got a two-stage compressor. So you want to run at low speed. If it gets extremely hot like it did in July, you're going to go to your second stage. If it gets really cold in the winter, you will go to your second stage, okay? Then you've got 3 stages of heating. The third stage of heat is the backup electric heat. I put it in. People say to me, well, you don't need it. I know you don't, but I'm putting it in because there's a couple of reasons. Part might break in the winter. I flip you to emergency heat, okay? Or we are taking so much heat out of the earth. We get an extremely cold winter like we've had the last couple of years, and that flow center, we're taking that heat out. Well, every once in a while, the way the system is set up, the machine is set up, the flow center is going to shut off. It needs to take a coffee break. Your backup electric heat will come on for 30 minutes or an hour. And when I say that, what you will see in our numbers is that backup electric heat might cost you anywhere from $5 to $20 for the whole winter. So don't think of it in terms of the electric heat with heat pumps because they're dealing with air. When it gets below 40, if that baby doesn't come on, you're uncomfortable. I don't care how cold it gets, 52 to 55 all the time where we are. So we're not dealing with air. But that's why I put that backup heat in there. You've got the lowest maintenance. There's no combustion opponents. The water furnace will say you could change your filter every 6 months. You check it every month. That's the rule for me. You check that every month because these units are so sensitive. If that filter gets a little bit dirty, it's going to shut the system off. It could jam up the compressor. It's not worth it. You're there. Take it out, check it, shake it, put it back. That's really important. That's the high efficiency standard filter it comes with. I provide the electrostatic. That's the lifetime filter. The number one reason that homeowners decide to install water furnace is American Electric Power right now, okay? Because they keep going up with their rates, and it keeps making geothermals get more popular. You will get references from me. You will be able to talk to 4 or 5 of my past folks that have them. One guy said to me, well, you know, Ed, in fact, I'm going to meet him next week. You know, you're going to give me all the people that are happy. I said, Dennis, I don't have an unhappy person. Do I have some people that didn't like certain things when the installation was going on? Yes. Did I have problems? Yes. Did I go back and fix them? Yes. So any of the people I give you, maybe one of the people saying, we had that problem. Energy management came and made it right. But I don't have somebody that says, I really hate my geothermal system and Ed's a bum. It's not happening. Yet, anyway. This is just a shot of a well of boring vertical. We did a house in Franklin County. Dr. Lucy was 76 years old when I went there. Wanted me to come. She had propane. Talked to her, spent a couple hours with her. So we're getting ready to leave. She says, now one thing, Ed. I'm 76 years old. When am I getting my money back? Okay, Lucy, don't die, you know. Don't die. Her return was about 5 years compared to burning propane. A propane furnace. But we had to go vertical for her. She had rock. She had no land to go horizontal. Your yard will be a mess. Whether we go horizontal or vertical, we will grade and put everything back as best we can. We do offer seeding if you want it. Most people do it themselves or have their own landscapers come in and take care of it. So how can it heat using the earth? The earth absorbs 46% of the sun, solar energy. If it was a perfect world, I could heat every house in the world with geothermal. It's not a perfect world, but that's how much heat the earth is taking in all over the world, okay? So when we put one in for you, what I don't want is I don't want paving over our pipes. We don't want concrete over our pipes. I want the sun beating on it. I want the rain on the land. I want the snow on the land. All that stuff sinking down to the pipes. It keeps replenishing our heat sink. So the heat, as we talked, the heat is extracted from the loop. It's moved into the home. The earth is your heat source. What we're doing, now this is horizontal, okay? We go 5 or 6 feet deep, depending on the amount of land I have. The pipes go on the side. They come out on the bottom. They're staked on the sides. One is on the bottom. The next one is about 2 feet above. And then, of course, it's backfilled in. And the excavator, and we're always there, but you have to bucket that in. I can't have the pipes getting knocked off, no wavy pipes. Not good. I want them straight. Once we get above the pipe level, they can push their stuff in wherever they want, no problem. This is the header pit that sits outside. Okay? All these pipes here are out in these trenches. We bring them back here, and that's what that is that we were passing around, to take in one supply and one return and not bring 8 pipes into your house. So if there's ever a leak, this is 3 feet deep, it is marked. If there's ever going to be a problem, it's either going to be in the fusion, we got to come back with our shovels and dig it up, or it's going to be inside. Okay? Fortunately, I've not had any leaks. And I always hate to say that because I feel like I'm putting a jinx on me, but how much space do I need? For horizontal, usually we'd like 1/3 of an acre. Vertical loops require an area about 15 by 15, so we get separation. The pond loops, it's got to be at least a half an acre, and we need about 8 foot deep. We can get horizontal on a lot of lots. We need to stay away from your water lines and stay away from your septic because we will freeze them in the winter. So we need to stay like 3 feet away from those, which is not a big deal, okay? Not a big deal. How does it heat using the cool earth temperatures? Although the temperature of the earth may feel cool, of course it's 50-some degrees down there, and what we're doing is when we're taking that in, because it's still a heat pump, there's refrigerant in that unit, in the coils. So we're bringing in that 52 degree, we're taking that heat, okay, we're bringing that in, it is changing the refrigerant from a liquid to a gas, it's compressed, it's going over the air coil, and of course, the blowers and out into your ductwork. So the geothermals are still a heat pump, we just use the earth to get all this done. The warm air is circulated throughout the home through your duct system. The geothermal system can make hot water, which we talked about. That can also be put into radiant floor. I've got several systems in with that right now. The geothermal unit can cool your house. We're taking, in the cooling season, we're removing the heat and humidity from your home. We're transferring it back to the cool earth through the loop system or the well water. Again, the earth is serving out a heat sink. It's running back through the coils and cooling your house. The major components, the geothermal unit consists of a compressor, a blower for the air distribution, heat exchangers, refrigerant piping and valves, electrical controls, and a circulating system. The higher end systems have the dual stage compressors. That's what I put in. Most of the time, and we have single stage, which is less money. Most of the time people can afford it, and it's really, if you can, you do the best system there is. But we do have several different, single speed systems out there. We're bringing it in, and this is just kind of showing you the major components, but we're coming from the loop into the coil, okay, with the heat exchanger. The gas is getting compressed. It is then driven up to the air coil, over the blower, up into the ductwork, and out to your house. We get 5 units of energy get delivered to the home. We are 400% more efficient than anything on the market. So people say, well, you're not more efficient than solar. Great. What's going to heat your house? Solar's not going to heat your house. It's going to heat a component in your house, So we're getting 4 units of free energy from the earth. We're using 1 unit of electricity. That's where the cost comes way, way down. Ordinary gas furnace, you'll lose 5 to 30% is lost to the outdoors through the flue. You've got 1 unit of fuel used to generate the heat. You'll get 70 to 85% of the energy that you pay for gets into your home. Are all geothermal systems created equal? No, they are not. There are a bunch of geothermals out there today, okay? What you're looking for is what's most efficient. There are differences between them because most of the ones out there are takeoffs on water furnace because water furnace was the first one, okay? In fact, Climate Master, which I think is sold through York, the gentleman that put that system together for them was with water furnace. He left, he went there. But now the technology is out there, and Ream's doing them, and everybody has a geothermal system, which is great. That's telling me there's an explosion expected. I'm already there. I've been there 13 years, so I'm happy. And what you're looking for is experience, the rated efficiency, the value and quality, the warranty. Everybody in the company is trained. They're trained in the loops. They're trained in setting up the systems. And customer satisfaction. And like I said, you will talk to our customers. That is the Envision. That is the newest and most efficient of the geothermal lines. There's the flow center. These 2 pipes here are going up out to the loops outside. The supply and return comes down here to the bottom. That's where we start condensing your gases. This is your hot water connections on the desuperheater, and they're not really showing the true way. But what happens is there's a loop to one side and a loop to the other. It comes back to this desuperheater again, and that's what lets us circulate that water. Why choose energy management services? because I'm a great guy, because we are GeoPro Master Dealers, highest designation that Water Furnace gives to its dealers. We do the manual J-load studies. We do the GeoLink design. We're honest. We're trustworthy. We're responsible, fully insured and licensed. We've got 13 years of experience. I'm now up to about 90 systems in. You get the 30% tax credit. I will show you your return on your investment. You're going to have peace of mind with the system. That's our website and telling you where to go to get yourself some information. Thank you. You had a question? Don't let me walk out of the... Go ahead.
Do you know how the tax credit would work in a situation with a charity, a nonprofit?
No tax credit. The church, I did put in 3 systems. Nonprofit, no tax credit.
Oh.
I know. Well, the only thing you could say to that is, well, you don't pay any taxes. That's why there's no tax credit. See, that's the issue.
That sucks. What if a donor to the charity specifically was donating for the HVAC system? Could the tax credit go to a donor as an
My guess is no, but that's an accountant's question. My guess is no, because it's not going in his house. Okay, the only way that he would get that is he's either moving in to where the GF, yeah.
An apartment in the church.
Yeah, yeah, we'll run him a space, no problem. But yeah, nothing for nonprofits.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
If you're finished with that one. You talked about financing it through a mortgage on the house.
Yeah.
How long the mortgage are you talking about?
I mean, that's up to you. If you want to take,
Well,
in other words,
the shorter the mortgage, the higher the monthly cost.
which if I come to you, right, and you say, Ed, we're going to finance this. We only want to do it for 5 years. I usually use 10 years in my program because I don't believe when people are refinancing that they want to do it for longer than that. Okay, and I'll use maybe 5% interest. But you can tell me, Ed, I want to do it for 5 years. Then I will show you that payment and that in conjunction with your return.
What is the break even? At what point? How many years does it
It's about 3 to 8 years. 3 to 8 years.
take?
Yeah, that's what we're running. And how that works is like this. You're going to put a heating system. I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's based on the cost of the energy in Virginia?
Yeah. What I do is I give you 11 cents a kilowatt hour. That is today's rate, if you factor in the line sets and their grandmother and all of that. And then I'm going to give you 16 cents because if you're staying in your house, let's look down the road. They're going up in January. They're probably going to go up. So you're getting a look at 11 cents today and 16 cents and see how that affects your return. Okay? And the return works like this. You've got, say, an older heating system. You want to replace it. Now, you're thinking about geothermal, so you're either going to do the geothermal or you're going to put in that high-efficiency heat pump, which are great, okay? So when you take those together and you put them in the program, it'll come back and say, well, here's what that high-efficiency heat pump is going to cost you with your hot water, and here's what the geothermal is. And it takes all those numbers down, and that's how you're looking at your return. Yeah.
That brings up another question. If you've got an older hot water heater when you're making this decision, which
Buy a new one. Here's what I tell people, and this is what we do. If we come into your house and you have an old water heater and you're putting in this $20,000 or $15,000 or $30,000 system, I'll buy you the water heater. You pay me for that, no charge, but please put a new water heater in. We're doing all this work. We're making all these connections. You don't want us to come back when that thing breaks. Now, 10 years is not old, 15 years. I'm talking to people who've had them 20, 25 years, or they've had problems. So yeah, that's an issue that we check.
So if my energy costs are less than $3,000 a year,
And
$2,000 a year,
you could spend
then it's not going to be worth it.
suppose your costs go from 2,000 to 800 and you save $1,200 a year. Because that's, if you're telling me you spend 2,000 now,
Basing that on how long you say the equipment is going to.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's not a suitable thing for everybody.
Or
But
the payback period. You talked about
Mhm.
And you talked about a break even in 8 years.
30% of that now comes back
Let's
to
say
you
10 years. So that equates to $2,000 a year in energy costs.
in savings. Yeah, yeah.
That would be a break even.
Now, it's also based on you're getting a 30% tax credit the year you put it in.
Okay, I
So,
can't
so,
buy
so,
tax credit. I'm retired. I'm not paying.
yeah, okay. I mean, there are all those,
That's not bad, but-
no, there's all those kind of elements. Yeah, there's all those kind of elements that go into it. And until I sit down with the homeowner individually and discuss them, yeah, sometimes you're there, it's not going to work. It just isn't, that's fine, that's fine. This isn't something for everybody. It's happening, it's great, depending on your situation. Depends on you, the way you live in your house. There are some people that control their heat or their cooling at such a level, you know, it doesn't matter.
So with a 30% tax credit, that brings it down to.
Let's say it was
$13,000.
Yeah.
$13,000 cost. So.
And if you put a new heat pump in, and with the $300 tax credit, it's probably going to run you about $7,000. So you're looking at a $6,000 difference.
I'm just basing it on energy costs,
Okay.
period, and the payback on
Okay.
the system based on energy use. So with a 30% tax credit, and that brings the cost down to, let's say, $13,000.
Yeah. Okay.
10 years, so if my annual energy costs would have to be more than $1,300 a year, because the $1,300 a year would be
10 years.
only, well, for 10 years, but that would have to be the cost of the heating and cooling
But
alone, because.
but if it's less than
not
that, if
helping with the lights and the.
No, we have not. Right, we have
and
nothing
the
to
other
do
energy costs.
because most of your energy is your heating, cooling, and hot water. Most.
not
Oh no, absolutely not. So, you know, if we can save you more on that, you know, and again, these are the numbers I run, so that somebody like yourself looks and says, it really doesn't work for me. Okay, that's fine. It's not like, you know, you don't go into every house and show them this great savings and they say, ooh, you know.
Yeah, if you
So
got
it's
a
an up
brand
and
new-
down situation.
If you got a brand new heating system, you're not gonna do it while it's working. You've got to wait until your point where it's gonna motivate you to put in a new system.
Yeah.
When you have no heat, you're gonna do something.
Yeah, well, yeah, and it looks much more attractive when you have no heat. Yeah.
Okay, well, I did the math a while back, and I was checking to see if something significant had changed, and for me, it doesn't work.
I hear you. I understand that. I understand that.
For more than one reason. One is I'm not paying taxes. Two is I'm willing to turn the thermostat way down in the wintertime. Three is I don't have an air conditioner.
It's not going to serve your purpose.
Yeah. And where I live, the lot is not even big enough to put in a generator.
Well, I hear you. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a disqualifier right there.
But for those for whom it does work, I think it's a wonderful system and very comfortable.
It is. The comfort level is unbelievable. You know, it really, really is.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the attention to my questions.
Yeah, no problem.